which is organized by TEQIP-III by Chaivasa Engineering College, and it's my privilege and honor for me to extend a heartily welcome to Pauline Laraver ma'am. She is the Director of Sustainability Techno India Group, and it's a very much honor for all of us to have you ma'am with us. But before starting today's webinar, I would like to introduce Pauline ma'am. Pauline ma'am was born in Paris, and there she also spent her first 25 years and graduated from top business school HEC Paris with a master's degree in sustainability and social innovation. Her first tryst with Asia was through her extended semester at Singapore Management University, where she specialized in social psychology and business ethics. She has developed her expertise in strategy, consulting, and social entrepreneurship, especially as a co-founder of the association AQUA, which supports social enterprises and NGOs through social impact assessment studies. She is now Sustainability Director at Techno India Group, Kolkata, where she is trying to bridge the miscommunication and missed opportunities amidst the players of the social sectors through her venture Y East. Pauline ma'am, welcome in today's webinar, and I will request to please share your valuable thoughts to us. So next, please unmute Pauline ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah, the host had muted me. So I was saying, thank you, Jaya, for the lovely introduction. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Jaya, kudos to you because you pronounced my name like a real French. So
Oh, thank you.
that was great. So welcome to all. Thank you so much for thinking about inviting me over to this great webinar. I've been following Techno India Group activities in Jharkhand, and I have to say I'm very impressed about the proactivity and all of these webinars that are happening on a regular basis. So really, really congratulations to the whole organizing team behind these webinars and the flow of information that is allowed through these webinars. So I will not take too much time today, but I really wanted to maybe, as Jaya suggested, just share across a couple of thoughts that of course came to my mind, especially under the current pandemic crisis. So the topic of the day and the topic of the past few days for you have been how to COVID-19, which is a very vast and very complex topic. Some of us have, let's say, the luck to exactly know what there is to be done in this crisis because their passion or their vocation took them to be a doctor, took them to be a nurse, took them to be on the field, doing relief work over an NGO. So for some of us, it's really clear what should be done because they have been sitting on this position for a while, and the usefulness of their position took whole sense during this crisis. Now, it can be quite difficult to understand what our role can be in this particular crisis, because we can't reinvent ourselves as doctors from one day to another if we haven't been doctors, right? So this is one of the main messages that I wanted to spread across today to you is, no matter your specialization, you should really focus on this specialization and really honor your responsibility, no matter what that is. Be it a doctor, be it a teacher, be it a manager, be it a mother, be it a father. This is where not only your responsibility, but also your skills, competencies, and professional competencies are sitting and are. And in times of crisis, one does not have time to reinvent oneself into a nurse or a doctor, which is absolutely fine. We need everyone and anyone sitting at their own responsibility and honor it. So I'll structure this thought into 3 sub-thoughts, so that you can really follow me. So where I'm sitting, that is to say, I've never been a doctor. I'm not an engineer. I studied business. I studied sustainability. I studied social innovation. What can I do? What can I tell you that would be valuable? Right? This is how I decided to talk about these topics that I'm going to tell you about now. So to articulate my main messages, I'll go into 3 points. The first one is acceptance. The second one is focus. And the third one is optimism. Okay? So first, acceptance. So what I have learned through this crisis is that, of course, we want to combat COVID-19. And of course, it's natural that we want to fight against it. We want to find a vaccine. We want to heal as many people as possible. We want to make sure that there are the fewest number of victims as possible, because very naturally, one of our goals is to protect our own kind, humankind, our own colleagues and fellows, right? So this is absolutely natural to want to combat COVID-19. But philosophically and humanly, I think there's also a lot of wisdom in parallel to fighting it, also accepting the fact that it can happen to us. In the same way, an antelope might be eaten by a lion, I tend to believe that humankind also need some threats from the world outside, from the world that we live in order to stay humble, in order to understand that we're not invisible, in order to understand that maybe even beyond ourselves, beyond the strength of humankind, there's the strength of nature that regulates the rules in this world. And I think there is some amount of positive opportunities in accepting that we are not ruling the world, in accepting that we should be humble, in accepting that we are not invincible, in accepting that life should also be challenging the way all kinds of flora and fauna also face their challenges on Earth. And it really philosophically take our hubris down as humankind to realize this. There is this concept of what the ecology of disease says is that the virus itself, COVID-19 virus, just as much as 60% of vector-borne viruses that have come up in the past decades come from an environment, a natural world that we have stepped on, that belonged to other animal species. And because we have stepped on a territory a bit too much, the virus has come to our species, which could have been avoided if we had maybe considered that humankind should not rule the whole world. It's very delicate for me to put this point across, because of course you want to fight, you want human beings to be completely invincible. I understand, but there's a lot of philosophy and understanding that it is in a way a good thing that it sometimes happens to us as a reminder that nature is still the prevailing, predominant force on Earth. So that's acceptance. We have to accept that this can happen to us while developing the solutions to balance. The second point, as I was telling you, is focus. So I was telling you at the beginning, it doesn't matter if you're a doctor or not during this crisis, you have a role to play where your skills are. If you are a teacher, your role is to keep being the best teacher you can. Doesn't matter if you cannot save lives in OT because you're not a doctor. But there are students that need you. If you're a student, help yourself by being a student. If you're a manager, really honor this responsibility of showing the way as a manager, because that's what people around you, colleagues around you, family around you need and expect of you. If you are a parent, take this role of a parent because your children need you. If you are a fireman, just remain a fireman. You can't reinvent yourself in times of crisis. There is no time, there's this idea of emergency, and so you really need to stand your ground on your responsibility because people need you. Especially if we take the role of a teacher, for example, and for everyone else, to want to fight COVID-19 and to be on the front line and how to save lives, etc. But the main responsibility of a teacher is to find educational solutions and to keep the learning going no matter the crisis. And this is what Techno India Group has been doing in the past weeks and months brilliantly. And I'm super proud of the group, saying that, yes, we have been able to adapt our own responsibility, a mainly brick and mortar model, to a fully virtual online learning processes. I mean, it's amazing. You, as the teachers that are listening today, I'm so proud and so impressed by how we have managed to go from one model to another in just a matter of weeks. And this is what exactly should be done. You are teachers and you should remain teachers during the crisis, because each and every one's role is necessary for society to work out together. Imagine a society where 100% people were doctors. What about learning? What about the police? What about NGOs? What about essential goods and services providing on the market? This cannot stop either. So each and every one of us really has a role in combating the crisis by honoring where his or her skills are. That is, I think, really important. And final words on the third point. So we went through acceptance, we went through focus, and now we're gonna close with optimism. So I've been thinking a lot about this, optimism. It's really easy nowadays. Even if the crisis hadn't happened, it's really easy to be pessimistic, right? We're talking about, I don't know, a lot of different social and environmental challenges. Mental health is becoming difficult. A lot of burdens are on our shoulders. What's the purpose of life if death is going to come at some point, or if there are so many health issues in our world and social issues, etc. It's very easy to fall into the trap of mental diseases, if I may say, or mental trouble through pessimism. I really believe optimism work on personally, but it's also a skill that we should teach in our educational institutions and to our children. That is to say, you can acquire the skill of being a more optimistic person. That is to say, oh, this is the end of the world. You will think, just like this webinar is proving, let's fight it. Let's remain optimistic that the end result of this process is going to be positive. Can we learn ourselves and teach others how to see it as an opportunity more than a threat? So, for example, very personally, I have felt that this crisis was a lot more of an opportunity than a threat. I can say that from a very privileged point of view, of course, because when you keep in mind the different realities around the countries, about migrant workers, about people that really are struggling to find their daily essentials, it must be a complete different reality for them. But for us, and for all of you, I think, on this webinar, we need to be optimistic and we need to take it as an opportunity for everyone else, because the whole society needs our strength and need our mental strength of thinking, yes, we can do it, of thinking, yes, we can combat it, of thinking, yes, there's an end to the crisis. So we really need to stand our ground on it. And for the faculties that are on this call, see if you can include optimism into what we are teaching students at Techno India Group and in any other institute that is present today. How do we teach a student to see positive instead of negative in one same situation? How do we make him or her a problem solver instead of a problem seeker? Instead of sinking in with the problems and remain in the problem side of things, instead of going into the solution side of things. And this is probably, and I'm quite convinced about it, the most key skill of this 21st century, which is sadly enough one of the most challenging centuries that we are going through in terms of social and environmental challenges. So as leaders in your own ways, if you're a leader in your household because you're a parent, or if you're a leader in your classroom or virtual classroom because you're a teacher, or any kind of leader that you are, be the one that inspires optimism. This is probably the fiercest, the most powerful weapon against COVID-19 in order to combat COVID-19. So that's all I wanted to say for today. I'm sure you have learned a lot in the past couple of days, and you will learn so much also today. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for inviting me, and all the best for the rest of the program.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
I express my deepest thanks to Pauline, ma'am.
Before leaving, ma'am, I'd like to request stay for, spare some, 3 to 3.5 minutes with us.
distribute some cooked food item along with soap, packaged water, and it's a very terrible situation that people are in this condition. They hardly have means to have their foods, so we have decided to help these people to an extent we could do. You can see these are the people from our institute maintaining proper regulations. People are
So it was a small contribution towards the society or from the family of Chaivasha Engineering College. So now I would like to introduce within us Dr. Om Shankar. He is MD from on the Department of Cardiology, and he was a second topper of MBBS and first topper in All India BHU PG entrance examination in the year of 2001. He also credited for establishing intervention program at BHU Varanasi, and he is currently working as an assistant professor of cardiology at Benares Hindu University Varanasi. In the past, he has worked as junior consultant at Fortis Escorts Delhi, DNA Jamshedpur, and RNT Kolkata. As he also worked as associate consultant at Medica Super Specialty Center at Kolkata. He also chaired sessions and presented papers in many conferences and published many papers in national and international journals. They are like religious belief, patient-doctor interaction, and resilience as predictors for treatment decisions and health outcomes of heart patients. It was published in Mental Health and Religion Culture in the year of 2019, April. Study of correlation between angiographic profile and lipoprotein A in CAD patients. It was published in the year of 2018, November. And there are a number of papers have been published by Dr. Om Shankar, and he has received many awards and honors, including Kashi Ratan Award, Kashi Vidya Samman, and Yug Pratibha Samman by Akhil Bharati Vidya Parishad. So now I would like to request Dr. Om Prakash to address the participants for today's seminar on combating COVID-19. Sir, you can unmute your mic and you can tell. Actually, Dr. Om Shankar was present within us, but because of some network issue, he is facing some problem. Uh, After 1 or 2 minutes, he will rejoin. Not at all, sir.
I'm not visible to you?
No, no, no. It is showing that your video is on, but in the screen we cannot see anything.
The screen you should be visible, I think.
No, sir.
Okay.
Your video is not visible.
The video is not visible. Okay, right. Am I visible now?
No, sir.
I don't know why video is there. You are not visible.
I'm not visible also. So
You are
maybe
not
there,
visible. You are not visible. I'm visible, I think. You see?
there must be some network issue.
Yeah, might be. Can you see me now?
No, sir.
Hello? Can you see me
Sir.
now?
No, sir. No, sir. It's not visible.
I'm not visible.
No.
I go again and log in again.
No, you can just leave the meeting and rejoin.
Okay, okay. You can't see me now. Can you see me? Am I visible? No? And here, I don't know how many lectures you guys have heard about COVID-19, but being a doctor, I will start sharing my views from the very beginning of that COVID-19. First, I'd like to make you understand what is COVID-19. Uh, COVID-19. Co means CO means coronavirus. VID means it's a viral disease. And 19, why? Because it started in 2019. That's what we call it, COVID-19. Actually, this is not the actual virus which is causing that disease. So usually we perceive this as a name for the infection which is causing devastation throughout the world. In actuality, the virus was named SARS-CoV-2. What does it mean, SARS-CoV-2? SARS means severe acute respiratory distress syndrome. CoV means coronavirus. And 2, because if there is a 2, that means there must be some 1 somewhere. This coronavirus is not a new entity to the world. It has already caused devastation in the past. The first devastation caused by this coronavirus in 2002, 2003. And that time it involved around 24 countries and infected about 8,000 persons throughout the country and killed about 800 people. And that coronavirus was actually the name, the real one, the first coronavirus. That's what this virus is named, COVID-2. And after that, there were another virus which something different from the original, the first outbreak of this corona. That was the MERS infection. MERS stand for the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. And there also this coronavirus was involved. Network problem is going off. Sorry. Uh, can you hear me? Yeah, it's
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Yeah, actually we went off in between because of network. There's a poor network. Sorry for inconvenience. So I was talking about the coronavirus. The second episode was the MERS outbreak, and that started in Saudi Arabia, killed around almost 800 people again. And the mortality of the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, which we call it MERS, was more than the first episode of SARS that was in 2002, 2003, started again in the China only. That's what, because the original virus of the first episode resembled 82% with the present virus. That's what we call it COVID-2. and from there this name derived, the COVID, SARS-CoV-2. Why call it corona? The naked eye, not with the even the simple microscope. It is visible only under that advanced microscope that is known as electron microscope, because this is a nano particle sort of thing, and you can see it only in the electron microscope. And the size is around 100 nanometers. That's what. And if you'll see in that microscope, this virus will look like as if and the crown, crown means the the kings were wearing that crown over the head. And if you'll see in that spikes around, you must have seen, everybody must have seen the picture of coronavirus now, either in YouTube or everywhere, or in the photographs. The spikes are coming out. So whatever we are seeing in the 3D. That's what we cannot appreciate is the actual the look of the crown. But if we'll see in two dimension, then it will be looking as if like that the rays or something is spreading out from the original center, and this will look like a crown which wearing king used or queen used to wear. That's what this coronavirus. And so I just wanted to make to give you a 3D picture of this coronavirus, and for that we have to go. I want to show you something. Let us have some video for few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, and then we'll go directly there again to the lecture. Can you see me?
Yes, sir, but please share the computer sound, otherwise we cannot hear anything.
Which one? Just I want to show you the picture. If at all it's a sound is not there, no issue.
Okay.
You can see the picture, the spikes which is coming out. This is a 3-dimensional picture, and you can see that there are something which is studied on the top of that the just global structure which is visible. And this is what is that coronavirus look like. And just I wanted to have a view what is a coronavirus and how it looks like. You see, if you look at the coronavirus, there is a center. You see the second one in the black and white, where you can see the things spreading out. This one, the 3-dimensional picture, the moving. There are genetic material which is inside the blue color, which you are seeing. That is actually the genes of the coronavirus. That is a RNA. RNA. RNA is a ribonucleoprotein, and there are other genetic material which is called DNA. DNA is deoxyribose nucleic acid, and RNA is riboxynucleic acid. That's what just I wanted to show you, that this video, to make you understand what is actually a coronavirus, how it looks like in 2D and 3D, and how it is made up of. So this is a RNA virus, and there are different kinds of viruses. We call it DNA virus and RNA virus. DNA and RNA is one kind of classification of viruses. DNA, double-stranded DNA or single-stranded DNA, RNA, single-stranded RNA or double-stranded RNA. These are the genetic material. Like we have genetic material because of which we are what we are, visible from outside and inside. Like animals are visible, everything what we look like, any individual living organism is visible, is because of their genetic makeup which they carry. And genetic makeup is just like code. You guys are, the engineer, you must be expert in the field of engineering, and you must be aware about that the computer which we are using right now to communicate with each other. And the whole of the computer right now is in the simple computers are working with the 2 code. Not I'm not talking about the quantum computer, the 0 and 1. It's just like codes are there, and that a specific code in a particular sequence, if you arrange them, that makes the words, and because of that the computer is talking in different languages. Likely our genes are also encoded. We are also encoded by something which is located inside our building block. Building block is a cell of our body. Like in the building we use the basic 1 unit, and from there we are making a big buildings. Likely the cells are the basic unit of our structure of the body. And inside the cell you must have seen the eggs. And if you'll see the eggs, you have if you boil the egg, or even if you have opened it sometimes, broken it before, or if you'll boil the egg and open it after removing the crust, which is outside the outer surface of the egg. After boiling, you'll find 2 layers. One is the inner yellow layer, other is the outer layer, and the outermost layer is the crust. And to understand the virus, it just resemble like that. Center you have a nucleus. There inside the nucleus, in the you can see. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, but
Can you hear
voice
me?
is breaking.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay. Now you can hear?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Sometimes, sorry, there is an internet problem. I think it's going and coming, and sorry for inconvenience. And that's what I'm talking about. It's just like a boiled egg. And if you'll see that boiled egg, what happens, you see the outer crust, that is the envelope of the virus, which is visible here, in our case, the coronavirus. And inside that outer crust, there are 2 layers. And if you'll go in a real sense to the cells, if you'll see any cells of the body, it's just like that nucleus and the outer portion. Nucleus is the yellow sort of thing, which is visible inside the egg, which will cut the egg. And the white portion is just like the cytoplasm of that. And the cells also talk with each other in the coding sequence. And that coding sequence language is encoded inside the nucleus, the inner one, the yellow portion of the egg. Like if you consider a cell as like that, so that inside that innermost layer there are genetic codes, and because of genetic code we are made of different color, stature, and different intellect. Everything is governed by those. So that nucleic encoded material is responsible for talking of the cells with the different parts of the body, and they talk in the language of protein. And how they are formed? They are formed with the genetic material encoded inside the nucleus of the cells. And how they a message like a king, how 2 kings were talking in the past time. They were talking with the help of messenger. We are talking how? We are talking on internet, Facebook, with the help of a messenger. What is a messenger? It's a way to communicate between you and me. That's like that. You have a RNA, ribonucleic acid, that is in messenger, from where the genetic code, it carries a messenger. And if that messenger RNA will form a protein, that will be the language of the code reflected in our body, and that is how our body is governed. The coronavirus is also a type of messenger sort of RNA. And what happens if it enters inside your body? How it gets entered inside the body? Before going to the actual entry, I would like to tell you about how this coronavirus is actually working. Anything, if I want to enter inside your house, I need to unlock your door before entering inside your room, or entering inside my room. And this lock and key concept is also there for entry into cells. Cells of our body is also like a house. Our house is that is locked from outside. If you want to go in, you have to have special key. The how coronavirus inside our body, they also need to have to unlock our cells to get in, and that key which is attached as a lock there is known as ACE2 receptors. These are the receptors located over cell lining of our body. I'll tell you where it is located. This AC2 receptors, which is located, means lock is located outside our houses. Likely, these receptors are located outside the surface of our cells. And if coronavirus gets attached to these specific receptors, it can unlock that house, that cells, and can get inside your body. After getting in your body, viruses one thing more I have to tell you, viruses are usually not alive uh, in an outside world, or they cannot replicate in outside the world unless it gets in and using your machinery, your body and your cells for reproduction. Then only it can act as a living or as a living organism. Otherwise, it's just like a dead particle. Once it's find there itself on that lock and unlocks the with the key, RNA is the key through which it is unlocked, gets inside your cells and start your machinery. What happens? It hijacks, or it can hack like a computer. Suppose I am just hijacking all of your computers. I am talking whatever I want to tell you. It's just like that they just start behaving like the king of that house, the master of that house, start controlling whole of the house, and by hijacking the cell machinery and start whatever they want to produce for themselves, means their own replication, increasing their numbers, and ultimately leading to the death of the cell and spreading to the others. And why this what is specific about this coronavirus, and why this is causing a specific type of symptoms within us? Because these keys are not located everywhere. That's what it's a very specific, it has very specific target, coronavirus. And how it gets inside our body, it enters through the nose. And why this is through the nose and not through the mouth? Because inside the nose, we have this specific type of receptors that is known as ACE2 receptors. And first, it gets bind to the upper respiratory tract. You have a respiratory tract through which, with the help of which we are breathing, and we are actually alive because of that, the respiratory system and oxygen transfer inside the body. That ultimately gives you that metabolic energy inside the body, and we are alive. So what happens is there are two type of respiratory system. One is the actual site of transport of gaseous exchange, and the which is known as lower respiratory tract. The other one, the upper respiratory tract, the nose, throat, and these part of your respiratory system. And in the nose or pharynx, when where these receptor ACE2 receptors are located, this RNA virus gets bound, get inside that cells of upper respiratory tract first, and then enter the cell and start replicating by hijacking the cell machinery, and then starting destroying that. That's how it presents. The sneezing, coughing, and this all symptoms start before that as an initial symptoms because of this reason, because it infects initially the upper portion of the respiratory system, and where it irritates, it's swollen up because of the destruction of the cells. What will happen? There will be two outcome of this. Then if anything from outside comes in your house, how you'll respond to that? You will respond by fighting with that, because you will not allow any the foreign particles to come in and foreign body to come in and hijack your machinery. What will happen? You will start fighting. With that the fight, there are different levels of fighting also. If you'll see, our country has different level of navy. You have a ground forces, you have an air force. So likely we also have a different level of our protection inside the body. Those are the direct cells, like the sepoy of that our security system. Our body is also having sepoy sort of thing. And what happens once this foreign body, yani coronavirus, comes inside your body, it start the reacting to that. It start fighting with the coronavirus and try to kill and minimize that virus. And the first line of defense is the cellular immunity, that is comes with the neutrophil, macrophages. These are the initial machinery that tries to destroy the coronavirus and limit the spread, and they don't allow to go inside your body and destroy your body. So first line of defense, if fails, then comes the second line of cellular immunity and humoral immunity. These are cellular and humoral immunity means the immunity which is governed. Immunity is what is the fighting ability of your body to protect from the foreign invasion or foreign particle or foreign infections, preventing you from getting infected with that. Those foreign particle which comes inside your body, so cellular, and you have humoral immunity. Humoral is antibody based. Antibody is just like you have virus and antivirus. In your term, in any computer, you have a virus and you have an antivirus. Likely any computer is having. Likely in your body also, if some viruses comes in, so there will be a response to that virus, and that is antivirus will be prepared inside your body, and that antivirus is known as, in human system, antibody. That is an antivirus in your inside our body. That is known as antibodies. Antibodies produced against that virus and try to contain it. If the cellular immunity and antibodies, it takes few days to develop this antibody, about 2-3 days to a week to develop antibody to fight. But before that, our cellular immunity fights with the virus as of innate defense, as a first line defense. And if in totality, if your immune system can defeat the virus and contain the virus at the initial stage while it is entering inside your upper respiratory tract, then you are get rid of that. You will get rid of that infection, and virus will not harm you, and ultimately you will win. Means your body and our body will win. And this is what is happening in case of coronavirus. In majority of the cases, around 80% of the cases, our body is very much capable of fighting those infections. But in 15% of cases, it can cause mild to moderate sort of symptoms. And in only 5% of cases, this coronavirus can cause severe and fatal infections. What I mean by severe and fatal, and why it occurs? Because our first line defense was unable to contain the infection in the upper respiratory tract when it was entering inside our body. And if it fails, then it travels to the lower respiratory tract, and there it start devastating, and the likely the enters the cell, the hijack the machinery, cause destruction there. And if destruction is too much, because this is the place, the lower respiratory tract is just like the grapes of you must have seen the grapes, how it is the small the grapes are in a bunch of grapes. It's just like bunch of grapes, our lower respiratory tracts are there, and there is an exchange of bad gases and good gases. The good gases is oxygen which is going in, and the bad gases is going out, like carbon dioxide we are exhaling and removing from the body, which is the out product, in product of all the metabolism which is going inside your body. Like in a factory, you have a end product, and you have a goods and product, and like the byproduct of bad product which is going out. It's just like the carbon dioxide, the bad product of metabolism which is going out, and this is being exchanged at the lung level. If it gets infected, it gets swollen because of that the fight between our immune system, which is a protective, trying to protect from the virus, and the virus which is trying to defeat us. and it is causing that fight is causing anywhere if you have a fight, you can see if you have a heart, you must have seen that something is swollen. It's just like the lungs get swollen, and if lungs get swollen, then what happens? The easy exchange of gases is not possible, and what will develop now? Will develop the shortness of breath. They will start feeling the shortness of breath, and that's what the feature that is known as pneumonia, and ultimately we get chest pain, shortness of breath. And if still it's not we can contain, then it can spread to the other parts of body. We have initially we are gradually learning. Initially we have this feeling that the lungs is the only site where coronavirus is attacking us, but it's not true. It can attract any of the parts of your body where you have ACE2 receptors, and this is usually located in blood vessels, and blood vessels is every part of the body, but it mainly affects your brain, your heart, your blood vessels of the whole of the body, anywhere. And it can affect your kidney, it can affect your gut also, in the abdomen, inside your tummy. You have that receptors which is there. That's what the common presentation of coronavirus is. You can understand why this is having cough, cold, body ache, headache, and shortness of breath, and then have renal problem, kidney problem. It's because of that, because receptors are there. And what is one more important thing about that? In the many cases, people or investigator has found that our immunity is responding to the virus disproportionately, and this leads to the self-destruction also. It means it's causing more harm rather than the benefit to our body. And this is found in few patients, not in every patient. This is found in some patient, and there the outcomes are bad. If this is responding appropriately, then we are prevented from that viruses attack of the viruses, coronavirus. So this is how coronavirus enters inside your body, and it can harm your lungs, your kidney, your heart. It can, in fact, it can affect the brain, and it can cause brain stroke. It can heart attack, irregular heartbeat. It can cause heart failure, and it can cause kidney failure. It can cause gut problem, loose motion, and it can cause ulcers over your legs, lower fingers, and it can damage your liver also sometimes. So it is just a misnomer and a misunderstanding that it is only located to the lungs, and it is causing only lung symptom. And we have to get rid of those concepts. We have to move forward. So this is how the coronavirus is causing a problem. This is what is a coronavirus. Now, this was the problem. This was the symptom I told you. Now, how we can deal with this coronavirus, and how I can contain this virus, or how can kill that virus. From the time immemorial, we are aware that the prevention is better than cure. We are always following this dictum: the prevention is better than cure. So prevention is that this virus was originated in Wuhan, China, and the Wuhan, China is one of the provinces of the China, and from there that spread it to the whole of the world. China contained that infection and did not allow to spread to the other parts of China, but it spread it to the rest of the world, like with the help of travel by somebody. The story of that beginning is also very interesting. Initially, it was understood that, or it was rumored that it started with that fish market or that animal market, but it is from that the bats is the responsible organism, animal for the origin of this coronavirus. And there is still controversy between whether this coronavirus is originated was originated from that bat virus, or there's a second theory, controversy or conspiracy, is that this was a planned attack to destroy the world economy and to get power or become the superpower. This was the second conspiracy theory, which is being spreaded all over the world. And what was the background behind this is that the virology center of the Wuhan was very nearer to that animal market. And that research, initially one scientist from China has already published many papers related to this conversion of that animal viruses into the human viruses. Usually, we are having some sort of immunity that is known as species immunity. Like the animals can't infect us, our infection cannot infect the animal. And it's not that it's everywhere is true. Somewhere is there or somewhere is not there. To make it happen, and what is being proposed in that conspiracy theory is that inside the virology the lab of China, this virus was manufactured as a bioweapon and was used to destroy the whole of the world. And why they thought like that? Because they analyzed the viruses, and it was observed that the 89% of the genes of the virus was of bat, but 82% of the gene also resembled with the first coronavirus, which appeared first time in human. What happens to get animal virus to infect into the human? You require that modification, the spike protein. Spike protein is required to infect the human because this AC2 gene is located in human, and for human infection you require that spikes which is pouring out, spreading out from the surface of the virus. That is required for infection inside the human, and that was present in the SARS-CoV first episode outbreak, which appeared first time in China in 2002 or 2003. So what they are alleging that the spikes of this virus was removed and it was combined with the bat virus, and in between, to suppress your immunity, some portion of HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, AIDS virus, which is prevailing before that, it was combined together and formed this virus. This is one of the conspiracy theory for biological weapon. But the second theory, which scientists are more believing, is that it's a spontaneous mutation that has led to the production of this kind of spikes protein and ultimately led to the animal infection into the human infection. Conspiracy theory has their own merit, because they found that already in a reputed journal that some Chinese scientists has already published that converting animal viruses into the human, and this spikes and all modification they presented in a journal like Nature and Lancet of high quality journal. So they have their own thinking. What happened exactly we don't know, and somebody is telling just an accidental spread of infection outside that. So this is how the virus was actually came out, and this is how this virus was causing a problem to the whole of the world, and then it spreaded because of travel. Because why these respiratory viruses are more dangerous and can be used easily for biological weapon is that because it spread easily through the contact, but this droplet in coughing, sneezing. That's what these kind of viruses are usually used for, biological weapon. That's what they have conspiracy. Is correct or not, incorrect, we don't know. It's yet to be found, and it's yet to be researched further and proven beyond doubt that it is responsible, or this spontaneous natural mutation has led to the conversion of virus into this kind of viruses and finally infecting the human. But whatever it is, this virus is a very easily transmissible. It can spread human with a close contact, with touching and coughing, sneezing. So it is spreaded in a majority of the country. It has caused more than 40, 45 lakhs of people has got infected because of that, and around more than 290,000 people are already dead because of that virus. But if you'll see the other aspect of this virus has caused death of around 290,000 290,000 deaths. But if you'll see that an infection around 40, 45,000. But if you'll see the usual influenza virus, which is occurring every year by year to year basis, everywhere, nobody is noticing that virus, and it kills almost equally. It is causing 2.5 to 5 lakh death annually in the whole world, and it infects 25 to 50 lakh people every year. So if we are analyzing that this infection at present time, and we are seeing that infection is not very more than this magnitude, and also has not caused yet more than 5 lakh death. So this is all almost just like in the same ambit of that same frequency of viruses, which is the devastation which is usually causing everywhere influenza. There are other causes. There are other causes that never gets for the people like us in the whole world. Never, in India itself, you will see 3,000 children less than 5 years of age. They die every day, and every 10 seconds, the one kids we are losing. So this is definitely there is a something. One thing is the problem, and second thing is the created problem, and overtly expressed problem because of maybe some economical or the interest of somebody or the world power. We don't know who are the behind the scenes for this inappropriately or disproportionately showing that pandemic is a more dangerous, and showing us the more dangerous. It's just like that. It seems like that because nobody talked about the influenza virus every year killing, or the poverty which is causing more death, and nobody is discussing about those. So definitely this is something somebody is interested, and somebody will get benefit out of that. So how to tackle this? There are two ways. One is prevention, other is a cure. The prevention is the only presently available mode for us, and that's what we have to focus on, prevention more and more. So how to prevent? How we can prevent? If you'll see, uh, in China, they have different modes of containing the infection. In South Korea, you have a different mode of tackling the problem of this virus. In Sweden, you have a different kind of concept of handling this virus, and in America, you have a different kind of policies. In our country, we have a different policies. So let us consider one by one what happened to the China. China actually focused on multiple pronged action, and why China responded well to this pandemic, I think, because of the problem China faced before with the SARS virus in 2002-3. They were more prepared, and they have some background in planning also. That's what they can contain it, and this is one way that we can see to it. What they did actively found that case. They isolated the case. They isolated the contacts, quarantined the contacts, and they actively more and more use the technology. That's what where your roles are there to the different apps were there to locate that, and the thermal sensing and other modes, and categorizing the person into different groups, some green, yellow, and red, and using technology, their positioning and their contact and quarantine, active testing, active finding test, and the treatment, symptomatically treating the patient, and symptomatically they got rid of that infection. But this was the China model. The second model, which was adopted, and the lockdown. lockdown, which was very one of the important model that was tested in China. In contrary to that, you have another model which was there in South Korea. They never did lockdown. Nationwide lockdown was never there in South Korea, because that's a capitalist country. Their economies are, all the factories are there. We are using whatever Samsung, and these many factories are there from Korea and car. So they try to prevent their economy to collapse, as well as they try to contain the viral spread. What they did test and aggressive testing everywhere. They did a lots of testing to find out the case, and they woke up at the initial stage when the cases start appearing. And there was one case, 31, and they spread at 60% of the infection in Korea. They actively contain that contact and everywhere, and that's by testing, isolating, testing, and quarantining the patient, and proper hygiene, hand washing, mask, and these kind of things they adopted, and they were using the technology the most. If somebody was there in their vicinity, they were aware the who is having this coronavirus in nearby you, and everybody was getting messages, SMS every day, that okay, you are in such and such area, and you're nearby 100-meter, 50-meter, you have one patient. Keep these things, don't move outside. These were the modality they applied. They never locked down, and they succeeded in doing and controlling that. The third model, which was adopted by the Sweden, was the concept of herd immunity. Sweden believed that again they did not lock anything. They symptomatically they treated the patient, but they believed that this virus will be controlled by the human itself, and by promoting, all restaurants were open, everything. The normally people were interacting with each other, and this is the concept of epidemiology. If pandemic diseases are there, or any this infectious diseases are there, if it's spread in more than 50 to 60% of the society, it will stop spreading. Infection will automatically spread if the human gets self-defense mechanism active. That is not an antibody inside your body or cellular immunity inside your body that will prevent and take care of that infection. And other models like US were testing, the combined model of Korea and China and the Sweden. Some were this and some were that. But our country was totally different. What is unique and what to our country, unique to our country, is that we have plenty of people here. Second thing, we have a very severe poverty here, or unequal distribution of resources. The third thing, which is good about this country, is that we have too much of young population. Too much means 65% of our population is less than 35 years of age, and more than 65 years of age, only we have a 5% population. More than 65 years of age, the more devastation caused worldwide were there only when the population were aged. Aged population, what are the problem of aged population? They have depressed immunity, they have more of diabetes, more have hypertension, they have more of obesity, and they have more of suppressed immunity. And because of this combined effect, they are more prone to dying. That's what the advantage with our country is, that we have only 5% of people with these kind of more than 65-year age group. Whereas you will see the world where it caused more devastation, it is in the tune of 25 to 35%, to 5% versus 35%. That's what there is a huge mortality in the US. You have a huge mortality in Italy. You have a huge mortality in Spain. But that magnitude of problem is not yet visible in our country. This may be one reason that why we are getting less people dying because of that. The other is the problem that we have very poor health infrastructure. Uh, uh, we have very limited resources to fight against COVID. Initially, we have very poor planning to fight that. We were not doing anything at the initial stages, and suddenly when the WHO announced the pandemic of the pandemic, means it's most of that the world, affecting most of the countries of the world, then we call it pandemic. And this pandemic was declared on 11th of the March, and after that our government woke up, and even then did not do anything, just waited. And even the 22nd of the March, it was previously tested, and finally 24th of the March was the ban was the lockdown was implemented. I personally was never in favor of from the first day putting lockdown in our country. Why I was not in favor of putting this lockdown in our country at the initial stages? Because I can calculate that we have a plenty of population, we have plenty of problem of migrant worker, we have plenty of poor people in our country, we have very scarce resources. If we'll put everybody in we'll lock everybody in the room suddenly, how they'll survive? And there were that we have a season of weeds were there, you have to cut weeds, and all if we are stopping that period of time, what exactly it could have it caused actually because of that lockdown, that many people died, which we never noticed. We have hospitals, majority of the hospitals are not working right now. This is very shameful, and this is a very bad strategy, I would say, we are following. The hospital should be open, and that the concern of our doctors were also was important, because they were why they were not working, because they did not got the personal protective equipments which is required for now we have to do after moving forward, going through the lockdown of some period, we were forced to stop that aggressive intervention, and then we have to switch back to that opening, gradually opening that the lockdown in that period when we have plenty of, this was a poor planning, and that is causing a problem to us. But still, so one problem is a lockdown where people, you are now economically well off, they can control it, and country, there is a viable option. But for us, it was a good option to isolate those people who are elderly, having multiple diseases, and person to other people should be allowed to move in, but with precaution. What precaution and how to allow? One way to contain corona is to stay home. If you are infected, you must get quarantined, must get treated, must not meet with the people, isolate yourself, so that you should not harm to the society. The other thing which is very important is to isolate yourself, means your respiratory system, because it's your respiratory system which is spreading the infection to the other. So the first is to keep yourself within the house who are infected, who are the contact of infected, or you can lock down your respiratory system. And the respiratory system, how you lock down? you will, if you are having N95 mask, you wear that N95 mask. But if you don't have that kind of facility, then the concept, gamcha tolia, this concept was actually given by me. I was the person who first proposed that. And that time there were, everybody was rushing out for that N95, and there were, black marketing or that. Then I suggested, your tolia, gamcha, sort of your handkerchief, whatever you are using, it's equally effective and you can prevent it. Ultimately, everybody accepted that. The second model which I proposed was that you should clean in the hand with the soaps, not with the, don't require sanitizer. Everybody don't require, because there were a of sanitizer that was also finally accepted. This zone concept of red, green, and that was given here by me. And many more concept which was given by me was accepted finally by the government, and it is being followed. But the important one is that now we have to consider the more and more, we have to more vigilant now, because we are in more critical situation. Now, this is what is the prevention part. So what is the treatment for that? Do we have treatment? The treatment you must have heard, our country is exporting hydroxychloroquine to that US and other part of the countries, the Brazil and other countries. And in our country, I hardly see this practice of recommended the people of hydroxychloroquine. Hydroxychloroquine is relatively safer than chloroquine. If it is given by the doctor under supervision, it has certain side effects, and it is not you have no established evidences in favor that it kills. But what is this drug hydroxychloroquine is immunomodulator, and it positively modulates our immune system. So disproportionate reaction of this our immunity against us only is stopped, and we get better outcome. So in hydroxychloroquine, the trials, other drugs are lopinavir, ritonavir, ribavirin, and remdesivir. These are the important drugs which is under trial now. The World Health Organization is conducting right now one largest trial, which is known as solidarity trial, and there it is being tested. These drugs, remdesivir, lopinavir, and ritonavir. Remdesivir was a drug that was not evolved for this purpose. Actually, when you don't have anything, whatever you have, you are trying with that. Remdesivir was actually developed for Ebola virus treatment, but it was also tried here, and it has been found in some trial that smaller trials that it usually it is shortening the duration of illness by 30%, like 15 to 7-8 days, or like that. And likely you have other ritonavir, lopinavir, and the combination of many. One recently published trial just yesterday in the Lancet, and the trial tested the 3 drugs in combination. What they tested, and that one is how they tested. They tested lopinavir, ritonavir, ribavirin with interferon beta, and they found that this treatment reduced the hospitalization and severity of illness significantly. We don't know exactly what is going to happen, exactly what will the outcome. Interferon, how it works, interferon actually it's neutralizes the effect of viruses. That's what it's used. Other is those. So these are the drugs being, we don't know exactly which drug is actually, we don't know, we can say presently we don't have any drug specific to the coronavirus that can kill coronavirus. It is yet to develop, and it will take some time, because drug development takes years, not one day. The third option of prevention, again, for the person who has not got infected, is the vaccine. You have a different kinds of vaccines in around 100, which are the candidate vaccine under trial so that it can be tested into for this coronavirus treatment. So how you use the vaccine? You have a main culprit. How you will prevent, the basic concept is that your strategy should be to neutralize the spike protein binding to the AC2 receptor. This is the basic target of our all that vaccine which is working, where we are working. So the virus, coronavirus, cannot bind to AC receptors. So how we do that? We do that. There are different strategies. Like we have some monkey adenoviruses. They are not usually causing infection to us. Those attenuated means weakened viruses are combined with, used as a carrier to the spikes protein is being attached, that spikes portion of that, and being injected inside the body to counter that, to develop the immunity and counter to create the antibody. This concept is being utilized by two most prominent vaccines, candidate vaccine, which may be available next year, or somebody is telling, the company of the Indian countries also combined with the Oxford, the Oxford University vaccine trial. And there you are using that vaccine, which is a candidate vaccine, is known as ChAd-Ox1. This is in combination of India, Serum India is also involved with that, and they are planning to. They are very confident about that. This vaccine will be very effective, and they can launch it by September, October. Presently, that is in the second phase of the trial. What are the phases of trial when you are doing any clinical research? You have a preclinical trial and the clinical trial. Preclinical trials means the trial which is not being conducted in that humans, and it's either in laboratory animals. There in the basic designing portions and initially testing safety efficacy there in the outside of the human. The first, then comes the a clinical trial, 4 stages of clinical trial. What happens? The initial stage is, you must have seen some doctors are getting these vaccines. The initial, they are the healthy volunteers. So there we find any side effect or any safety issues. They're to first inject there, and then we see. So you must have seen some vaccines are being injected. It was very viral, message at that time. So this is the one Moderna vaccine was there, and that was being tried. So this second trial is then you use in the patient. First was a healthy volunteer stage 1, then you clinical trial. Second stage you use in the few patients, 100 patients around. And then stage 3, around 100 to 500 patient you test, and after that you market it and sell it to that different country, and so that the rest of the world can use these vaccine for prevention. So in the Indian company is claiming that they millions of vaccine they are planning to start manufacturing by the end of May, and by September there will be millions, and they are planning to launch into 1,000. I don't know when will happen, and really it will pass the test or not. The future will tell the exact reality of this. And the second, this was that kind of adenovirus being used as a vector. Second is the concept is using the spikes protein DNA is manufactured inside the lab and being injected inside the human, and against that spikes protein antibody is produced. So whenever the coronavirus gets inside the body of those kind of individual, already you have antibody inside your body from that first your artificial vaccination which you did it, then it immediately neutralizes the spike, binds the spikes protein and did not allow to bind with the cell, so it prevents. This is the second mode of. There are third mode, that is RNA based mode. So you are not DNA you are not injecting, you messenger RNA, which is directly converting into protein. You are using those vaccines. This is the another mode of vaccine. And the fourth mode, which is also on the trial in China, in killed viruses are being used for the killed RNA virus is being tried. Coronaviruses is being tried to develop immunity inside the virus so that it causes immunity but not harming you. These are the kind of prevention and the medical aspect which I try to cover. And if with these words, I would say that I try to uh, cover most of the aspect. And the one more aspect which was left with the plasma, the serum you can use of the patients. That is another kind of thing you can use, because once I get infected with the corona and you get infected, and it is not causing severe disease in yourself, but with the antibody kit, which is a rapid kit is there, presently they can test the antibody inside you, but likely, the it was used in a few patients in Delhi recently with the Tablighi people. They donated blood like that. So plasma is and serum is and by donating blood from getting donation from those people who has got infection and recovered well, can be injected inside your body, and they will neutralize the coronavirus inside your body. So this is the another concept. This is also being tried. And the another concept, one more is to develop antibody directly outside the body and inject in the infected patient with the coronavirus. And this is monoclonal antibodies. They are also in different phases of development. So this is what is the prevention and treatment and the problem of coronavirus. And if you have any query and a question, you are most welcome. And thank you so much for listening to me. And I really appreciate everybody. And thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So we have a few questions from the audience,
Yes, please.
participants. So Sumana Roy, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Yes, please.
Good afternoon, sir. Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Sir, I practically had a doubt that is influenza, then common cold. Like these all type of diseases, they are basically caused by the family of rhinovirus and coronavirus, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, sir, my point was that this SARS-CoV-2, this is a particular type of virus under the coronavirus family.
Right.
Okay. Now, sir, like in what manner is this SARS-CoV-2 so much different? Like what is the speciality in this particular virus that it has 10 times more intensive effect, that its transmission rate, like it's so high? Like what are the basic properties that is, how is it so special?
Yeah, especially I told you at the outset, if you listen me properly, either this is a self mutation, or because it was manufactured as a biological weapon in such a way that it can destroy all your system. How it is doing that, this virus, if you'll take as a biological weapon, what happened actually, it is a combined the portion of three viruses actually. One from bat virus, second is the spike protein of the SARS-CoV-1, that was initially the spike was attached to that, and the third was your immunity should not fight against that. They have used some portion of the human HIV virus, the immunosuppression. So your immunity is suppressed. If I believe, and you take this resemblance and with the structure of this virus, that's what. It's not that there are two things. One is it has got one structure, and your receptor which is being used, yani AC2 receptor inside your body, which is there. And the second thing is that you have an additional feature with that. And if some viruses are already present in your society from before, your immunity is already there. That's what I was talking about, the herd immunity. Like the why rhinovirus, we are not very getting that severe disease, is also we have some immunity against that. But this virus is a novel means this is new. This was never before. This is the first time manufactured or mutated, either artificially created or in the lab, or spontaneously mutation has caused this problem. And it is at one side it is pressing your immunity, and other side is causing more, that's what, if fight, how you'll win the fight. Either your weaken the opponent, or stronger strong make your strategy stronger.
Okay. So, sir, like, can it be concluded that because this particular virus, it ennobles the properties of three different categories? So,
Yes,
is it genetically modified? Like, can it be concluded by this?
it is genetically modified.
Okay.
It
So,
is genetically modified, and the way of modification may be either of two: either artificially by us in a lab, or spontaneously by mutation. By spontaneous mutation, the RNA viruses are very prone to mutation. Because you don't have correcting mechanism there. Corrective mechanism, the DNA polymerase is there. The continuously in the DNA, you have a machinery to control that aberration coming inside. Like you have a virus is how the generating in the inside your computer. It's generating because of other reasons, and aberrations are also coming in your any society, any concept. It transmit, and then catchy is generated inside your computer. It's just like that.
all right, sir. Thank you, sir. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Professor Shudeb Bakshi, sir, you
Yeah,
can
please, sir.
ask. Yes, sir. Shudeb, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Sir, I have just one question to ask. Say, if somebody calls certain electrician or plumber or some other outsiders for certain work in his home or in his flat, how he can protect himself?
Who? You or he?
Let me for myself.
Somebody plumber is coming in your house.
Yes, I don't know whether he is a carrier or not. He may be fit. Possibly
He
he
may be.
himself doesn't know he is fit or not fit.
The way is that first, if you want something to do inside the cover, I told you the covering and locking of that respiratory system of his is important, and yours are important. And once he is coming inside the house and working something inside your house and doing, and then you must clean and sterilize you after doing every he's going to that. But only that kind of thing is washing, cleaning, and sort of prevention. He's asked him to wrap around with the gamcha, tolia, and towel, whatever it is with him. And after he's leaving from the house, get it clean properly.
Another thing, sir.
Yes.
You clean everything, okay. But what about the atmosphere inside your flat? How you can clean? That's also contaminated by his presence, possibly.
But how it will go? I think you did not. What we are doing with the lockdown, we are locking some people inside the house, and my better way is instead of locking them inside the house, is lock the respiratory system through which it is spreading. If you have locked a respiratory system outside, ask him to wrap around the towels inside the face, then it's not going to come inside your house. It's already protected. They are contained within themselves. It's not coming in your, it's spreading there inside.
Yes, he's protected by his own mask, etc.
Yes,
I'm ensure that he's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
That is also protecting my home.
Yes, of course. It is because from where the viruses are coming from himself. If at all we consider him as an infected patient, and if he is getting he is infected, we have already locked that inside that. It's better that you get the history also. But he may be asymptomatic carrier. He may be for that prevention and that locking of not houses are not important. Yourself in your respiratory system is more important than, I believe, in poor country like India is more important.
Okay, sir. So another question. There is a idea that human, all human beings will get immunity after a few months, as due to the presence of this virus. Is it true? What do you think about it, sir? Is
Uh,
natural
uh,
immunity is possible if you don't have any medicine, anything like this?
yes, of course. It's not possible. It is a proven. It's not possible. It's a proven, because whosoever is presently recovering from the illnesses, they are recovering because of their own immunity. Nobody's there is no specific treatment for that. Only symptomatic treatment we are offering to the patient, just supplementary treatment.
Right. You
If
have
you have
no
a fever,
medicine, anything.
no medicine presently for this coronavirus. We are whosoever is getting, and the good thing is that 80%, 85% people are in, the containing themselves without getting even represented of getting representation of this infection within them, and only 15% patient are getting moderate kind of infection. Only less than 5% people are getting severe kind of infection. And this is the outside world. If you'll take the Kerala, it's 0.6% only.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any question?
I think there is no questions. Gautam, do you have any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Please ask. Your voices are not clear. Please ask your question. Your voice is not clear. It's not coming. Please ask your question.
Hello.
Yeah,
Am I
please.
audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Am I
Please
audible?
come. Yeah.
Sir, as you told that viruses are inanimate outside the human world, then for how much time period it will be there as a panic virus for us?
It depends where it is, what surface. Like in the air, if you have sneeze and cough, it will remain for 2-3 hours. But if it is on cardboard, it will remain, a day. If it is on some plastic sort of steel sort of thing, it can remain for, even 3 days. And if, some glasses, it can remain as 5 days. This is how they persist.
They depend. The period depends on the medium where they are
Yeah,
kept.
of course.
Okay. Sir. My next question is that the viruses affect the biotechnologically developed tissues or organs.
Sorry?
Is that viruses affects the biotechnologically developed tissues or organs?
It will in fact where AC2 gene is there. If it is living, if this is a non-living, then it can remain as such, like like the any innate surfaces, that's like I just said.
Okay, sir. And last and third question is that as per the today's situation that government are saying us that we have to go with the pandemic and with safety, then what should the red zone people should react with these advices?
And that's what I'm talking about. There's nothing like that what you red zone, green zone, and whatever zone you are having, instead of containing the hello.
Hello.
Just
Yes, sir.
instead of red zone, yellow zone, you consider it the infected patient, number of infected patient is there where it is, and we have to make the people more literate, and you have to teach the people. That's what I said at the outset. In country like us, the important strategy is to educate the people. Yeah, we are poor country. We cannot lock them in a house for a longer period of time. Otherwise, they will be killed without food, without any, and we all of us will be killed because of those. Everybody is dependent on each other. Our all system works with everybody interaction, and that's what it's better to have the lockdown the individual which is a positive, ask them to remain inside. You use your the app and the more of technology, getting SMSs alert to you and the nearby people. Suppose I'm infected, I'm living in your vicinity, so you should living, and everybody living in my vicinity will should get the information that such and such people are or such and such a house is infected in your nearby. So please keep away from that house and themselves. And to them also, you don't please go outside, because already with the app you are the Arogya Setu or something, like you can have better app or better technology and SMS alert. You can, this is the one way. Second thing is to teach them not to go out. Third thing is that you ask them to go out only with the precautions, yani locking the respiratory system, means putting mask or putting towel and whatever it is the way you are. And the likely, if you go outside, you lock yourself as a mode of prevention.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable uh, and knowledgeable sharings to this workshop. And probably your suggestions will help us as well. And we will spread these words to our local people, so that they can also be aware of this kind of activities and these practices to be taken. I'd like to give you many thanks for being with us, for sparing your time with us. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for giving me opportunity and hearing me and bothering me to hear. I think if I can make this world little better with my effort, I'll be very grateful. And I like to, if and when required, for my free and totally free services. I don't charge anything for services, neither personally nor anything. If anything is from my side, that is no feel. My help is required. I am there to help you guys. It's my way of living my life. Thank you so much for inviting and listening me. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we will be waiting for our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, from Jharkhand University of Technology, Dr. Gopal Pathak, sir. So he will be joining soon in this session, and he will present some his views and his suggestions and his knowledges with us, so that we can have a motivated and healthy life under this kind of activity. Now, I'd like to request Joya madam to go ahead because our PC sir is now our PC sir is facing some difficulty of network. I think no, he is there, so you can go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Sona sir.
Hello.
Yeah, hello, very good morning, sir.
Yeah, very good morning to all of you.
So very welcome to you all. And before starting this webinar, I would like to give you an introduction to all of the participants. So just for 2 minutes.
Okay.
So all the participants, it's my honor to introduce Dr. Gopal Pathak sir. He is the Vice Chancellor of JUT. Dr. Pathak sir is graduated from BIT Mishra in Civil Engineering in 1977. He also received Mechanical Engineering in Civil Engineering and PhD in Environmental Engineering degrees from BIT Mishra. In 2000, he became a professor and coordinator of the Environmental Science and Engineering Group at the BIT Mishra. He has published technical papers and presented at conferences in India, China, Sweden, Finland, Australia, South Africa, Iran, and the USA, among others. He has earlier appointments as a visiting scholar, fellow, professor at the University of Technology, Sydney in 1997, Ningbo University in 2007, and Princeton University in 2009, and Center for Sustainable Development and Global Competitiveness in 2011. And it's our very honor to have you, sir, with us. You can just go ahead. I request you to start this webinar session today.
Yeah, thank you so much. And respected principal of this college, all distinguished faculty members, students, other participants, if at all anybody is there, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to address you all today on 13th May. And as I had a discussion with your principal, so we had decided to have this interactive session with you all on COVID-19 and also the academic schedule, preparedness of examination, how classes will be held, and also there are many issues which every student, teacher, administration, we all are facing. So as we all know, not only India, the entire world is facing a very challenging time, this COVID-19. We all got, I shouldn't use the word arrested, but in our own house, we all are residing, and that is the only way, because prevention is better than cure. By this time, you all must be knowing about the various issues related to COVID-19 and also the ideas how to prevent it. And you must be following also. But I would like to say firstly, because health is the most important thing. So you all means the teachers, students, management, we all have to concerned about your health first. So you have to be healthy physically first, and also you have to be healthy mentally. During this time, because everybody is residing in their own house or wherever they are staying, with your parents or alone, with your relatives or wherever you are. Stay safe. That is the first goal one should have. So once you have taken care of your health part, then we have to think how to plan, because we are this fraternity, students, teachers, and all related to academic activities, people are around. So how to plan your studies, examination, and utilize the time in the best possible way. From my own experience, I tell you, even whenever I used to feel sick, means some flu, or once I had malaria also long back. So those periods, because I had no option to be but to be at home and spending time. So those times also you can convert into opportunities. So whatever area I was weak in as a student time also. Suppose I had to learn civil design. RCC used to be a subject which I was finding some challenging in some topics. So I could clear my concept utilizing those days because you are at home, you have nothing to do, maybe having some weakness due to your fever and all. But even then, whenever you feel comfortable, go on turning the pages, clear your fundamentals, and try to understand the issues which you could not understand earlier. So here, a general message to all the students: you must be aware, whether you are from first semester or any semester, must be having, in some subjects you must be having some lack of knowledge or concept. Then this is the time you go on studying online, offline, because in your NPTEL or Swayam Prabha, many courses they are there. Any topic you want, you can find it. And even offline, if you are having some books or notes, go on studying. That time, please don't think whether you are going to appear in an examination, or because learning is a never ending process. So make yourself strong in the area where you are weak in, where you feel that you need some extra effort to learn all those things. Because you may, definitely you will be graduate one day. So without examination or with examination, that AICT guidelines, MHRT guidelines, and even UGC guidelines, they are with us, and we are also planning how to conduct it. But knowledge is ultimate. So there is no option to it. So in the meanwhile, please go on studying at least 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. And you have sufficient time because you don't have to go to college, or you don't have to go for any other activities. So at least 2 hours in the morning hours, like a very routine and disciplined student, and 2 hours in the evening. Select subject of your own choice, whatever subject you feel comfortable in or you want to learn. If you are having some doubts, so Google is there to help you, or these courses which I told you about, the online courses available. Otherwise, you have many options. You can speak with your friend over telephone, or even you can contact your teachers, and some concept which you are unable to understand, you can ask them, share your ideas, listen to them, and try to understand all those problems. Also, I won't say that sitting in a room all the time, you have to be a like a study boy or study girl all the time you are studying. So that will also make you tired. So why did I tell you 2 hours and 2 hours? You can increase it also 3 hours and 3 hours. It is up to you. But definitely between these time, you should have some time to relax. So listening to music, or reading any novel, or reading any storybook, or watching movie, TV, etc. Update yourself also. You must have a habit to listen to the news, national, international as well. What is happening in the world, what is happening in India, what is happening in your own state, in your city. So update yourself definitely. I also do the same thing. At least half an hour I keep myself free to update myself about all the activities, what is going on in the world, or in the nation, or even the state. So have a habit to have all correct kind of information. Then, as I told you about your hobbies, music, or anything you are interested in, practice all those things. Normal days, you won't be finding that much of time going to college, coming back and all. So whole day is finished, that you know very well. So those days, you won't be having that much of time. We all won't be having that much of time. So during this challenging time, find this opportunity, avail this opportunity. to make yourself strong in all the areas of your interest. Also, of course, as I told you, health is the first thing. So you have to plan your daily routine, fooding and all. Normal days, you are rushing from your hostel or residence, going to the college, coming back. So sometimes food habit also gets disturbed. Here, you don't have to get involved in many activities. So timely, you take your food, preferably simple kind of food, as WHO also suggested and said something about this non-veg, this and all. So be careful about all these things. Have hygienic food. I'm not going to mention any item or anything because it is up to you what kind of food you like. So that would be your choice. But healthy and hygienic food should be preferred. Immunity at this age for young boys, girls, immunity, of course, you have got better immunity than the senior teachers or senior citizens. So they also have to take care of their food habit and all. Timely you do it, take it, whatever you want, the most simple way or whatever is possible. Here also you are learning to be the self-independent. These days, servants or maid servants are also not coming to the houses, are not allowed also, and we should not be dependent on them. So you are doing your own things yourself. Suppose you are staying with your parents. So don't put much load on your mother or father. They are senior people, they also need rest. So you do your own things yourself, cleaning your clothes, washing your clothes, washing your utensils. This is simply mindset. It takes 5 to 10 minutes to do all these things. If every day you are doing it, it is not going to take much time. But if you are piling up, suppose after 10 days you are going to wash the clothes and all, definitely the task would be 10 times. Similarly, as I told you about utensils and all, cleaning the house, keeping your house, your room, preparing your bed once you get up, do all these things. They are also part of learning. I also do it myself and I enjoy it. And I tell you, it takes only 5 to 10 minutes in finishing all these day-to-day kind of things. You can have some innovative ideas. Girls, mostly they are there. Now there is no discrimination, girls or boys. In housekeeping also, you can take care of those things. How you keep your surrounding, your house, yourself, cleanliness, etc., etc. But as far as the study part is concerned, as I told you, minimum 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening. More also you can go for. But mentally you should be fit. It should not be like that you are feeling so monotonous and then you are going to complete your 2 hours. No. Suppose you are tired at the end of 1.5 hours, stop it, have a gap, do something, listen to the music or continue your studies. Passing examination. Today also we had a meeting with the Department of Science Technology, sorry, Higher and Technical Education, along with all the senior officials. And we are also going to design what should be done regarding the examinations. So we are studying the recommendations made by AICTE and UGC also, where they have suggested for some batches without examination, they could be promoted or they should be or should not. They may be, may not, kind of thing they have put. But for final year, definitely they have to appear in the examination. If at all they have to appear in the examination, what could be the mode? Offline, immediately we are not in a position to conduct it because a large number of students would be risky. So let's we are going to have from the Department of Higher and Technical Education in consultation with everybody, considering all those recommendations. In the larger student, we are going to finalize any decision because you are the most important stakeholder of the education system. If students are not there, what is there for the university or college to work? So students, as I always tell, they are the most important stakeholder of the system. Of course, then teachers come, management, of course, parents, and all associated with the university activities. But student interest is at the top. So we have to understand their psychology also. I know many of you are getting confused. Sometimes I also receive messages, they are asking some questions because they are young boys or girls and they are not, many things are not known to them also, rules, regulation, etc. So sometimes you get confused, what will happen to us? Whenever these kind of things come to your mind, please don't get tensed up. Everybody is concerned about you because you all are the future of the country or future of the world, rather I should say. So young boys and girls, your career is always on the top priority. And we are also thinking that way, and maybe very soon we are going to have a guideline. But before that, we all are wishing that the COVID-19 should end. Nobody knows when it is going to end, or even reoccurrence has also been noticed. Yesterday, I was going through the news. We found that in Germany and South Korea, many patients, those who got their status negative of it, they also again became positive. So the nature of this COVID, this virus, has not clearly been understood. Scientists, researchers all over the world, they are working on that, and how many types of COVID, because it's changing also. As I told you about for China, in China also, some cases have been reported. The persons who got cured and again they got infected, and the nature of this COVID behavior is slightly different. So things have not been clearly understood till now. Repeating once again, scientists and researchers, those who are medical scientists and all over the world, biotechnology, Department of Biotechnology and all, pharmaceutical science, they are working continuously in this area, how to get rid of this problem. But nothing concrete could be said at the moment. So we should not think about those things because that is not directly our area. We are dependent upon the reports submitted by the doctors or the scientists, and finally it is to be approved by WHO, World Health Organization. So we all are dependent on the report of WHO and all. But what is there in our hand? Our hand, same thing I would tell you, these 24 hours is in your hand. So time management, that is a word which you all must be knowing. So the time you can manage and you can utilize in a better way. So utilize this time optimally, try to do best in all the areas. As I told you, you have to be physically fit as well as mentally fit. If you are physically fit, then only you can be mentally fit also. So do some exercise also at your home, whatever kind of exercise you prefer, some free hand exercise or yoga or any kind of exercise. Even if it is not there, some walking in the house, household working also, that will also keep you busy, and you can do some physical exercise. And don't think anything negative. No negativity should come. Allow don't negativity to come to your mind. Be always positive and think all these kind of challenges like 100 years back when Spanish flu had killed more than 2 crores of people in India. Whole world after this First World War, same period, 1918, it started and it went there for 2 years. And finally in December 1920, exactly 100 years back, they could control this Spanish flu. So those days also, if you read that history in Google, you can find how people manage their time. Those days, many facilities were not there. The way you are having all this technology and you can know many things. They had nothing, even the newspapers, they were not that literate also. But, and superstitious, and many things were there. 1920, if you remember, 100 years ago. But situation got handled. So nature has its own power, and we should not think much in that way because that is not our area and we do not have any control on those things. So be positive, think yes, everything will be all right, and you will be, one day everything will be all right. Institute will also reopen, university will also reopen. But till it is not reopening, what you can do, be prepared for online also. Try to learn, because we have not conducted any online examination yet till date. in second semester, at least the university has not done. Maybe in your college, you must have appeared in some online examination. If not, try to appear some mock examination kind of, even some objective questions or small subjective questions, definition, some small numericals could be given to you. And so that you all should be used to appear in online examination. Nobody knows if it prolongs for a long time, maybe online examination, maybe the future of the academic system. If it is not, otherwise also you are not losing anything. You are understanding something which you have not done earlier. So that is again a part of learning. And learning is a never-ending process. And maybe after your graduation and all, if you go to any foreign university and all, uh, particularly this America and Europe, these days nobody would plan to go even. But if at all it is there, so there most of the examinations they are held online. So you should be quite used to how to operate, how to do it, how time there also. Suppose 3 hours is given for examination. Within 3 hours, you have to write so many questions. You have to answer those questions. So you have to be prepared for those online examinations. So for practice sake, try to do every day. You can do some 2-3 questions you can set, or you can write the answer and all, and just check yourself. Like one thing, your gate examination or your GMAT or GRE, you must be familiar with. So mock examination, all the question paper they are set, and using your internet, if you are having a system and internet, you can yourself check yourself your capability, that out of 100 marks, how much you secured. That marks is not going to matter. That's only for practice. So involve yourself in doing those kind of practices. Once you are turning the pages, books and all, if you get tired, move to this system, online system, and try to practice something. So this is the way. If you are spending your time, the punchline I would like to say, never compromise with your health issues. They are on the top priority. And you must have heard it now 100 times, washing your hands with soap. Don't put your finger in your nose, eyes, mouth. So these things you know very well. Whenever you are coming back from outside, wash your clothes, you take a wash with lukewarm water. Any vegetable fruits, if you are bringing, wash them in water along with um, some chemicals which should be added to take care of, like baking powder. They also suggest, and many kind of things. Those things are available on Google. So before consuming anything, don't eat outside. You have to, outside food should not be brought at home. Cooked food, at least vegetables and fruits you are dependent on, so you have to bring it, medicine and all. But fruits and vegetables, wash them regularly, and maybe after one day, I do like whenever it comes, it is put in the water for one day, it is kept over there. Then we take it out and use it. So whatever instructions have been given by the Ministry of Health, central government, they have issued many directives which all are available on your net. And Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, also time to time they are sending their directives or guidelines. And similarly from the state government, we are also receiving. And we have to obey all those things strictly. The social distancing we have to maintain. If you are in the office, or if you're going to the college, or any counter, any place, in a shop, vegetable shop or fruit shop, maintain your social distance. Keep yourself fit, because the future is going to be yours. If you are not fit, you won't be able to do much. Even if some problem is there, the matter should be reported to your seniors. If any kind of symptoms you are getting, and what is happening with COVID, sometimes it is asymptomatic also. But if anything goes wrong also, so don't be panic. There is a solution at the early stage if it is reported. So with some treatment, there many people are getting cure also, that you also must be knowing. So don't get panic on any issue. Don't allow any negative kind of things to come to your mind. If at all it is coming, try to deviate from those kind of things. Again, as I told you, whenever you are you're thinking and something negative thing is coming to your mind, just leave that room, go to the another room, listen to some music, talk with your mom, dad, or any with your friends. You can call your friends in between and try to forget those negative kind of things. With these words, I wish you all very good luck and success in all your future endeavor. And be disciplined, be safe, stay home, stay safe. And I would like to congratulate Chaibasa Engineering College for organizing this interactive session. In the meanwhile, at the end, rather, I would request if there is any question you want to ask anybody, teacher or student, you are most welcome. Thank you so much. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you. If
No,
anybody is having a, yeah, yes, sir.
Could you get my whatever I said? Did you?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, if among the participants, if anyone is having a question, then they may ask by raising their hands. So I'll unmute him or her, and they can go for the question. Sir, with your permission, can I ask the question?
Surely.
Yeah, actually, in all over India and outside India also, we have some photographs and some newses over WhatsApp and Facebook and other social networking sites that there will be a online examination and probably in the offline examination too. Some modifications will be done. Some new things will come. So what can we expect from a point of view of teachers?
Yeah, again, I could not get you. So
uh,
online, offline examination is going on, as you
yeah
said.
yeah
Offline,
yeah
nowhere is going on.
yeah
What you said?
no, actually, just
Sorry.
a
What
few
you
weeks
asked about?
back. Yes, sir.
No, you tell. What was your question? I could not get the question.
Sir,
You
we cannot.
repeat your question.
Sir, your voice is breaking, so can you, sir, please repeat?
Your voice is okay.
Yeah, now it is okay. So I am asking that for the conducting the offline examinations, we need to get into huge paperworks. We need to uh, make question papers. We need to get it printed out. But while converting the offline examination schemes to the online examination skills, so there will be a reduction of paperwork. So in other words, will there be any chance of new things to be introduced from the teacher's point of view?
No, what I can do to start with, I tell you, the way we are talking today. So even within a week or so, you set some small questions just for testing yourself and all. Whatever subject you are teaching, set some questions, 4, 5, 6 questions, whatever, and you form a group of students or all the students if they are connected to, and just test yourself. That is nothing. That is a mock examination, and just see what kind of problems you are facing in conducting this examination. So tomorrow also you can do. Just simply 2 plus 2 is what, and anything, just online how you can do it. So for mid-semester examination, definitely I would tell all the colleges that they should go for conducting online examination. And let us see what kind of challenges are coming and how they could be resolved. Anything new, if you start, definitely you are going to face some problem. And
Yes, sir.
so online, try to practice, utilize this time, and just see how many students are participating. If others are not participating, you have the email number or email ID or mobile number. So you can call them, encourage all of them to appear in the examination, just for test purpose, just for fun, to start with very simple kind of question, so that they will also enjoy, and then slowly and slowly coming to the subject and the kind of questions normally you used to set. You set those kinds of questions and ask them. If you are finding any problem, the, the group could be formed in all the colleges, because teachers of computer science, electronics, they are having more exposure because every day they are doing this kind of thing. But now in other branches also people are doing it. So what I want to tell you, not department wise, but suppose you are 20 plus teachers over there. Out of 20, maybe 5 are more efficient in conducting this type of thing. So they can teach the remaining 15 teachers how to do it in a better way. So that learning also you also go on, and it will happen with the students also, same thing. Suppose initially they are having some problem, but slowly and slowly they will be used to. So start setting, as I told you, 2, 3, 4 simple questions, ask them. That is not for the from the question point of view. That is from this mode. They will learn how to appear in an online examination. So that training need to be given first. Okay.
Okay,
Anybody
thank you.
else?
Thank you, sir. There is a question from our student, Rahul Kumar. You can ask.
Yeah, Rahul, tell me. No, is not audible. Rahul. Rahul, please check. Is not audible. Your
Rahul,
voice is
you
not
are
coming.
not audible.
Yes. Is it, sir?
Yeah,
Is it
it's
Yeah,
now?
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay now.
Good afternoon, all of you.
Yeah,
My
good afternoon.
question is that we have discussing about the written exams and all that stuff, but what about the practicals, sir? As we are from engineering background, we are
That is
not able to get the logical things like how the in present scenario how the faults are occurring, like in power system and other things. We are from the electrical background and also from the
I,
engineering. So
I got your question. I got your question. Regarding practical, I can tell you it's a big challenge. For computer science and all, they can do something where they do some programming, etc., etc., C, C++, etc. Those kind of things they can do. But for mechanical, civil, and even for electrical branches, something without going to the lab, you cannot understand. But virtual lab also UGC is suggesting. So whatever experiments could be explained with the help of virtual labs, they could be followed. But even then, I tell you, virtual lab totally cannot replace by the physical presence what we do. Virtual is something different. You at least you are going to have some idea about that experiment. But if this corona continues, then we are going to have not much option. But what I would suggest, and today also in the meeting I have recommended, even after 1 year, once everything gets normal, those lab parts could be repeated. Even if you can pass, you can go to the next semester. But those things, because you have not experienced practically, so those things must be done in the next semester or next to next semester, whenever things get normal. But suppose if it goes for 3 years, which is quite hypothetical, nobody knows, as I told you, nobody knows when it is going to be over. So in the meanwhile, conducting laboratory examination is a big challenge. The way you are thinking, I am also thinking as a simple human being. But with the help of some virtual, uh, something could be explained about that. Like constructing a building. Without seeing the building construction, you cannot think how it is being constructed. But some
yes,
pictorial view, and somehow the teacher will explain, which is not 100% satisfactory kind of thing. But
yes,
something is better than nothing. So that is the, because in this corona, the challenge is how you should be allowed to enter in the laboratory. That is again a risk. अगर जिंदा है तभी तो कुछ कर सकते हैं.
yes,
So
sir.
let us see. But virtual laboratory they have suggested UGC. So same thing I would tell them. I know it is not a permanent solution. Okay.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Yes, Jaya Mukherjee, you
Thank
want
you.
to say something?
Yeah,
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 please.
sir. Thank you. Thank you for giving your valuable concern and queries, answering the queries to the students because they are quite worried about their examination, what will happen, and
No,
surely
we are
they have
concerned.
got a satisfactory.
One thing, madam, we are all
Yes,
concerned
sir.
about that, and all decisions will be taken in the interest, whatever the best in the interest of the students and overall the university. Yeah, so please carry on,
Yes,
Jaya.
sir. It's a big question for the students also, no, sir. And thank you for sharing your valuable time and giving us such a valuable time because you, you are after a long time we are getting a very nice and satisfactory answers, and this which must be beneficial to the students. And once again, thank you, sir, for attending this global
Thank,
webinar. Thank you, sir.
thank you. You are welcome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
Mr.
sir.
Okay, anybody
Thank you,
else?
sir. Thanks for your valuable time and for being with us and giving our students and other participants as well as the teachers also such a motivational words from your side. So I'd like to conclude the session with your permission, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you, sir.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
So it has been our pleasure to host this global webinar on combating COVID-19, sponsored by TEQIP-III, Chavasa Engineering College. And I am thankful to all the participants for joining this webinar. We have been fortunate to have some of the eminent persons with us in this webinar. I am very much thankful to TEQIP-III and Techno India Group, the main sponsor of this webinar. Without your support, it would have not been possible to organize this webinar. I sincerely thank Pauline Ma'am, Director of Sustainability, Techno India Group, for her continuous guidance for the organization for the overall growth of this institute. Dr. Gopal Pathak Sir, Vice Chancellor of JUT, for giving his valuable suggestions and time to us and for sharing his valuable thoughts with us. Dr. Om Shankar, GM, Institute of Medical Science, Varanasi, for sharing his valuable scientific knowledge with us about COVID-19. I take this opportunity to thank all the reviewers and technical committee members. I would acknowledge my special thanks to Shaunak Bhattacharya sir, coordinator of TEQIP-III, and for managing the technical sessions. I thank Professor Mohit Chatterjee sir, Vice Chairman Techno India Group, for his inspiring mentorship. Our beloved Dr. Sudipta Chakrabarty sir, Board of Governors, Chairman of this institute, for continuous support and advices which greatly help towards the successful organization of this global webinar. My sincere thanks goes to Dr. Ranjit Roy sir, Principal of Chaivasa Engineering College, for organizing this global webinar. I am also thankful to all the faculty members who attended this webinar. I once again thank everyone whose contribution make this webinar a successful webinar. Thank you. Now I hand over to Sonak Bhattacharya sir.
So thank you, Jaya Madam, for this kind of uh, presentation. So if is anyone is having any feedback about this session, then they can share with us. So if anyone is having some feedback about this 3 days global webinar uh, on combating COVID-19, so they can raise hand and they can share their feedback. Yes, Rahul.
I am very thankful to our college, Chaibas Engineering College, as well as the TEQIP-III for sponsoring such a nice webinar through which we are able to uh, know the current situation of COVID-19 and how to be protected and uh, be safe at our houses and being healthy. I'm very thankful to all our faculty members, our principal sir, and all the dignities whose valuable thoughts are delivered during this 3 days seminar. I'm very thankful to all of them. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rahul. So anyone wants to share their feedback? Okay, so the session has been concluded. So wish you all the best for your upcoming days under this kind of pandemic situation. Hope everything will be fine and hope for the best. Thank you so much. Thank you.